I put that up for a couple of reasons. First of all, initially, as I said, supply and demand outstripped supply, so there wasn't enough risk assessment, and they were making a fortune, an absolute fortune. And loads of people knew they were making a fortune, and nearly every fire officer that was retiring went into this profession. You know, they all did. The other week I was up in Glasgow, a guy was coming out of the fire service, I'm going to become a fire risk assessor, straight away. You know, no questions asked, he was straight into that, because there's plenty of money to be made. But also I've put that up because now the market's getting a bit more competitive. Yeah, the market is getting a bit more competitive, and people just want a risk assessment and they want it cheap. So they're driving down prices. And we found that even the good guys, the competent guys, are having to dumb down what they do. They're having to skim through buildings because they're not, they're having to compete with other people. There was a social housing tender up in Manchester that I was told about, and the prices, I think it was about 10 blocks of flats, high-rise flats. The prices for that was varied from £1,400 for each flat down to £250 for each flat. And that's an incredible difference. And of course, I can get my risk assessment for £250 per flat, or I can pay £1,400, Which one do you choose? Actually, they went for the middle ones, which worked out about £500. Even then, it was tight, So, this is the reality. I love John Ruskin. These quotes are really, really good. He was a social commentator and an art critic. There is hardly anything in the world that some man cannot make a little worse and sell a little cheaper, and the people who consider price only are this man's lawful prey. If you pay 60 quid for a risk assessment, you're probably going to get 60 quid's worth of risk assessment. It's your choice. This is an article by Paul Bryant, and I think that was on FireNet, which is the fire service kind of network, web-based e-magazine. Recession or not, the appetite right now and into the future is likely to be for an increased litigation. Saving a bit of money at the front end is unlikely to go down well as an excuse in court. Those who would pay more per hour to a plumber fixing the central heating than to someone undertaking a life safety assessment of their premises need to rethink their strategy. A competent person doesn't necessarily have to be a lot more expensive, but you need to be able to know what you're getting. Compare like for like, if you see what I mean. Litigation is going to be a bit more. I was at, where was that? Birmingham. I have some AGM at Birmingham, and Hilary Ross is a lawyer that was involved with the New Look case, and she was just saying, litigation is going to be more and more prominent. If you have a fire, you're going to get prosecuted if your risk assessment isn't suitable and sufficient. So it's really important that you guys can demonstrate due diligence, because due diligence has to be seen to be done. Remember our John Smith? A lot of people said you'd appoint him, or you'd think about appointing him. Easiest thing to do with John for your due diligence is go to the National Register of Fire Risk Assessors and check his listing on there, isn't it? The trouble is, there is no National Register of Risk Assessors. It doesn't exist. So you can't check up on him. You can't see he's on there. You can't see how he's got on that because it just doesn't exist. Yet it's on his website. Competence applies only to others. This is a quote by Bob Williams. This is from Info for Fires, which is the fire safety profession web magazine again. Still haven't sought accreditation, mainly because I haven't got round to it yet. And I think I've only ever been asked once in 6 years if I'm competent to undertake this type of work. Once someone's asked him. They don't care. They think you're a professional. They're going to trust you. However, I wouldn't object at all to a National Register of Fire Risk Assessors as I consider myself reasonably competent. So he considers himself reasonably competent. Right, let's have a quick question. How many of you here are incompetent at the job they do? No one. No one's going to put that on, but switch it round. Who knows someone in their profession or someone they've come up in their personal lives who is incompetent? There you go. Right. It doesn't apply to everyone else, does it? It applies to everyone else, not ourselves. This little graph might backfire a little bit because we are in London, but how many people of you got driving licenses? Brilliant. Okay, so most of you, or nearly everyone. You've got to have a benchmark, some kind of, competent level. Competent drivers, there must be a benchmark. I mean, everyone's got a driving license, so we're all competent, yeah? Obviously, on the road, everyone's a good driver, aren't they? No. Let's look at the average. So let's say the average is the benchmark, so you make, as many mistakes as, the average is there. How many of you consider yourself average or above in their driving? Be honest, hands up who thinks. There you go. 80% of us think we're average or above at driving. Now, by the definition of average, that's right in the middle. So some of you are lying or don't understand that you're not a good driver. So, it has to be somewhere there. There has to be a level of benchmark. Third-party certification has been the benchmark in the past. It's been the benchmark in the active side, and it's been the benchmark in the passive side. Now, the ASFP is the passive industry professional body, and they insist on third-party certification to be a member of them. The Fire Industry Association is normally the active side. They have started this new fire risk assessors branch, but they don't insist for that. For the fire risk assessors, they've got third party, mainly because there wasn't any third party around. And they're still waiting for a company scheme to be developed. But they insist on third party certification for all their members. And IFEDA as well, the active side, they insist on third party certification. So it's a benchmark. Third party certification is a technical reference, if you like, for the company that's doing the job. This is the standard we use for our FRAC scheme, 17024, and certification schemes for persons should only be established in response to specific government requirements, i.e. protection of the public, you need protecting, or a demonstrated market need desire, credibility, confidence and improvement of the profession. Well, hopefully I've demonstrated that we do need to improve the profession. Yeah, we do need to improve confidence in the choosing people.